Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dawg.
Mike, it's good to see you again. Breaking news to start the show.
Whoa. Oh, hold on a second. Here we go. What?
All right, good job, producer. You had it ready. I'm moving to Florida to do legal sports betting. Did you hear about this? The apps are working in Florida. I'm going back. California, Mike, it's just they don't let us bet. You know, we talk about betting on the show. We can't place actual bets, but you go to Florida, there's like a Hard Rock betting app now. You can place your wagers. So I'm really pumped about it. I'm going this weekend to scout it out, and then I'll move officially after that.
Are you anywhere in Florida? I was in Florida last week, and I could have been gambling legally last week.
Yeah, wow. Totally. Were you not? Were you just speculative gambling, just like out into the abyss?
I thought it was like coming soon where you're going to be able to do it. I thought you had to be on premise. You had to go there and do it.
No, the app. There's a Hard Rock app. It's on the phone. You know how easy are they making it, right?
I like that. That's big. I feel like that's really big for. Why doesn't California do this? California needs money. Put us on gambling. You'll make so much money from us. We lose a lot.
I think California actually has a surplus of money in the state, and so they don't actually need the money. That's why they won't do it.
Yeah, we have pot, we have all this stuff, but no gambling. So
the other thing, Mike, I'm wearing for our YouTube viewers, and hopefully you're watching on YouTube. I have a little setup change today. I'm promoting our YouTube back here, the Sports Hangover on YouTube. It's right there. We got tons of shows, at least 2 a week. But for the viewers, I'm wearing my LA Kings hat. I'm a big hockey guy after last week.
Jeremy, I was very excited that you went to a Kings game. I was out of town. I wish I was there. Hockey's good. Hockey, best live sport you can go to. Much better than a football game.
In person, it's so much better. Like the action, the TV versus in person, it's so different when you're talking about hockey specifically. On TV, it's slow. What are you watching? They score rarely. I swear they score more often when I go in person, but they kept scoring and scoring. They were calling goals off. There was fights. I saw a Hall of Famer, Crosby, score. I saw another Hall of Famer, Malkin, get punched in the jaw and fall to the ice. There was so much excitement. There was overtime. There was free beer. There was a lot going on at this hockey game.
Did you go to the Club Hyde at the Crypto Center?
Yeah, and so Mike, I want to do a Lakers game with you on that suite level, that club level with Club Hyde. It'll be a little expensive, but it's so nice. It's like you're pretty low to the court too. It's not high up at all.
Yeah, and it's like a little like different atmosphere. You can still watch the game, have a little drink. It's almost like at a bar, but you're able to watch the game in club. And I feel like Club Hyde is like something people don't know about when you go to the games. It's a great little sneaky way to like switch up the game if it's a little boring.
There's also buffets in that area. And I don't know if some people paid for the buffets, but I didn't pay for the buffets. But I think it's available for everyone is my point.
I think it's like, I remember going like, you know, when they're like trying to get you they're like courting you to get tickets. Cause like I signed up once to be like, hey, show me like what the deals are, the packages. I think for that section where you're getting meals, you have to buy every single season ticket on Lakers, Clippers, Kings, and then every other event at the thing. And I think it's like $100,000 or something. So
like those people are spending like 4 to 5 nights a week at Staples Center, basically.
Yeah, I 100% would.
If you go to everything, because, you know, during the season, there's 2 NBA, 1 NHL, all the concerts. But the Clippers are leaving. They're building a new arena. I know this became an LA podcast just now, but the Clippers are building a new one right next to SoFi, the Rams football field.
I don't know. It feels like they're making, I mean, I know we don't really talk a lot of basketball, but we're talking basketball now. But it's weird because I feel like the way they're trying to move it. They got James Harden on the Clippers. I feel like it's a terrible basketball team. And I think it's just here are the names. Here's a new stadium. Come watch us at this new stadium. We have too many sports that no one goes to. And I think even like the Rams and whatever it's called, the Chargers, no one goes to these games. And I think that's kind of a weird thing. Like you went on a Thursday night. I'm sure it was pretty busy at the Crypto Center, but if you go on like a Tuesday, Wednesday night, the stadium's not that full. Like there's not a lot of people there. It's a weird thing in LA.
I know people aren't going to Clippers games. I looked, the Magic were recently here. If I did have an NBA team, it would be the Orlando Magic. So I looked at the tickets, and for a Magic Clippers Monday night game, I could have gone for $16. So I know a lot of people are
Why don't we go?
So we could do that for a Clippers game, clearly. You mentioned the Clippers. They have James Harden now. They have all these stars. They're like an all-star team with Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I think Russell Westbrook is still there. We had dinner with him recently, right?
Yeah, it almost feels like an all-star team from like 10 years ago. Like if this was your team 10 years ago, it's like, damn, this is a good team.
which is incredible that these guys are all still playing. They are all a blast from the 2012 NBA All-Star team, but they're all in one place. I don't think they play well together. I don't think they pass it around or get along, but they do all play for one team. So it's kind of a science experiment gone wrong, I think.
They do all play for one team. We'll see. I mean, I definitely want to check out the new stadium, but that stadium's much further. Like, most people aren't living down by SoFi and all those other stadiums, so it's a little harder to get to. It's not right off the highway. The downtown stadium is just easy. It's like kind of central.
Easy for you on the east side. The Rams play literally 10 minutes from my house on a Sunday without.
I know, but Metro, you're dropped off right there. You're downtown. It's easy to get there.
That's true. That is nice. So we'll see what happens to Staples Center, Crypto.com Center, whatever it's called now. Apparently they don't take Chase credit cards anymore. Just throwing that out there. So we'll see what happens to the future of that building without the Clippers when they get the new home.
Do you want to talk some football? I watched a lot of football, kind of decompressing from the trip. We gambled. We both hopefully are going to be 4-1. I'm 4-1 right now. You could potentially be 3-2 or 4-1 on the week on your picks, which is a good week.
You started doing a new podcast later in the week. It's called Spread the Wealth, and you spread it with me. I appreciate all the insights you guys are giving, and I'm a huge fan of the new format because you're bringing on a football expert, our rich friend. I won't say his name because to our listeners, he's just our rich friend.
He is.
He's dropping knowledge, and he's getting me on some games. I have to be honest.
He has a lot of info, but I just wonder. He's picking games based off football knowledge, and sometimes I feel like it's not all. Now, I don't know what he went this week. Did you see what he went? Because I know the picks he had. I'm gonna look. It
wasn't 4-1, that's for sure.
It definitely wasn't 4-1.
I think he may have been 3-2, maybe. Let
me see where he is.
I don't want to insult the expert.
So he went 2-3 this week. Tough week. He went Thursday, and he called me the next day. He's like, "Why weren't you on Panthers?" I'm like, I didn't want to be on Panthers. It was too scary. It's a Thursday night game. I don't play those, but he's good. He does have a lot of knowledge. So if you listen, you could definitely get some good picks out of it because he's doing a good job. He's really into it. He's like addicted to gambling now.
I know he's got great stats, great insights. He had a Belichick thing recently. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And by the way, Belichick leaving Germany after the fake spike interception from Bailey Zappi is about as depressed as I've ever seen Belichick and Robert Kraft. If you want to,
I think it's gonna be over. I think they're gonna trade him away. Get something for him. You can't fire him. I feel like all Patriots fans would be pissed if you fired him, but you trade him away, give him somewhere else, you got to get something new in there. Mac Jones, this is the first time I listened to a Mac Jones like post-game interview. He just sounds like a high school kid that's like, just got yelled at by his parents and like, yeah, just making some plays, I'm here for the team. We wanted to win. It's like, no one is excited. I don't know if you saw clips from all the guys talking after the game. Everybody on that Patriots team is like just defeated. It's not a good vibe in that locker room.
Well, it's like they're already not having fun at all because the Belichick way, the Patriots way. I feel like the Raiders are the best example of this, even more so than the Patriots recently. The Raiders were having a terrible time doing the Patriots way, led by Josh McDaniels, and they had the Patriots guy in place. And Jimmy G, the quarterback, used to be on the Patriots. So it's like the Raiders showed how much not fun it was. Yeah. And then they get rid of McDaniels. They're smoking cigars in the locker room. They're winning primetime games 2 in a row, a hard-fought game last night. Like, they're having the time of their lives. So the Patriots, not only are they not having fun because they're following Belichick down a dark alley, they're also losing. And so it's like the worst of both worlds. Of course, they're going to be miserable.
Do the Raiders, like, post-game, does that, like, to me, every time I see that, it feels like a 70s kind of vibe where everybody's just like, partying, they're smoking some cigars. I mean, what's that guy, Max Crosby, just like puffing on like I don't know what it was, like a Black a Mile, just right on doing an interview. They're a whole different vibe out there in Vegas. They're going wild.
Mike, this is what we always wanted by having an NFL team in Las Vegas in the first place. We wanted the swagger. We wanted the fun. We wanted the crazy celebrations. I need these guys on TikTok at the bars, at the strip clubs after games. Like, go all out. Show us what you really do when you win a game in Vegas. Show us the next 6 hours because I'd like to be along for that ride. And this is what we always dreamed of. Like, again, every primetime game in the NFL, or the Raiders should play every primetime game at home, whether it's Sunday night or Monday night. I think we could always use that energy. I know they're not super watchable all the time. Their offense isn't clicking yet with O'Connell, but I want to put the Raiders in prime time, let Vegas host all of the night games because they are a fun team with swagger now.
What happens with Jimmy G? I know we're deep diving on the Raiders, but Jimmy G's done, right? Like, he's going to be forever backup and just made hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's kind of done now.
Yeah, is the USFL still looking for quarterbacks?
Well, they're going to merge, right? You told me they're going to merge, and then hopefully something happens
with XFL. Yeah, they're combining two small leagues to make one small league.
Yeah, Jimmy G, I think, is officially done after this because the rookie does seem. It's weird. You put these rookies in, and they're just like excited to play, and they're slinging the ball around. I was thinking of like Jameis. Jameis is not a rookie, but he's slinging the ball.
He was
around.
Slinging. He's not afraid to sling. Jameis came in like he had one chance to sling it before he gets put back in timeout.
Oh, no.
And he was causing a lot of issues. They almost looked like they were coming back for a minute there, but then it didn't happen. He threw a bad interception, I think, late.
He loves throwing interceptions. He even got his eyes fixed and still throwing those interceptions. So
better to throw the ball downfield than not throw it downfield at all. Yeah. Derek Carr, I don't think has completed a downfield pass this year still. I think we're still waiting. And I don't know who's going to start next game, if it's Jameis or Carr. That division is crazy, Mike. The NFC South, no one wants to win it. It's like the Bucs have a chance. No, they don't want to win. They're not a division champion. They shouldn't host a playoff game. That'd be crazy. The Saints, Derek Carr should not win the division. No. So who is? The Falcons? Probably not. It's bad. The Panthers definitely are. It's a really bad division, and I'm not sure we saw that coming.
Do we? I mean, there's so much. I feel like the Arthur Smith Bijan thing, like they're not utilizing him enough. You see all these clips out there. It's like, oh, we got to use Bijan more. They put him back there. They're like return kicks. They're not. It's just like a weird thing when everybody saw how good he was in the beginning of the season. He's like, you know what? Let's stop running him. Let's use our other three guys we have and run some other players. Because it like frustrates me because you see it and the team's really bad and they're changing quarterbacks and nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense in football.
It frustrates you. Imagine being a Falcons fan. How frustrated would you be? They drafted him. Like they chose to draft him. If you want to be boring, just draft a lineman, draft a corner and move on like other boring teams do. But they're asking for it by drafting Bijan. And they just did this 2 years ago with Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts was like right around Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle in the draft. There was those three guys. Two of them have become amazing NFL pros. And we're still looking around like the Falcons could use a Kyle Pitts. They have a Kyle Pitts and then they don't use him. It really makes no sense.
You want to talk your boy Dobbs? I feel like that was like a big thing this weekend. Dobbs actually did it. You texted our thread and you're like, how could you bet against them? And it made sense.
You said he's my boy. He's your boy. Dobbs is your boy. You were early on him. I think you called him some certain names that we're not going to repeat because it turns out he has medical condition.
Well, I thought he had cancer. He looked like a cancer patient. Okay, that's what I thought he looked like.
That's what Mike said. But it turns out. But now you see him running around learning new offenses. Like, no way, this guy's a picture of health out there because he's getting it done in so many ways, and he's bringing life to the Vikings. Are they better now than they were with Kirk Cousins?
100%. I think they have more life. They're excited. This guy's just learning the playbook. I don't know who he's playing this week, but I definitely want to bet with him, but I feel like it felt too easy to bet with him this week. When I was looking at the game, I'm like, there's no way this man does this.
It was really easy to bet with him. It was really easy. And it was really easy bet to make because it's easy to fade the Saints. And they've been, if you're a Chris Olave owner in fantasy, which some of you are, I know, that's how you know, because you watch the Saints and you're so frustrated. That's where you learn to bet against the Saints.
You know, hold on real quick on fantasy. You know what people should do? I feel like you should play half the season. Yeah, you should quit fantasy. You play half the season. And then you do a redraft and let everybody get a new shot at different players, a full redraft of your team. Because I think it would just switch it up a little bit. Say you had bad players, maybe you get to keep one of the players you drafted, but you get a full redraft mid-season. And I think it might be more fun and might keep me involved doing a redraft. You have 6 weeks in or whatever, redraft. And then trades can go all the way till the end of the season. It'd be a lot of fun. I would do it.
I don't know why you're giving this opinion. I feel like a lawyer friend who's like 1-7 in fantasy should be giving that opinion because he wants the redraft. You're in first place in at least one of our leagues. What do you do with the first half of the season if you redraft at this point?
I think it's almost like maybe you treat it like a NBA, like whatever the NBA is doing right now, in season tournament. You play that, and then like the loser of the 6 weeks gets to go first if it's a snake draft. Or I guess it doesn't matter. If it's only a snake draft, it only makes sense. Loser gets to go first overall, and redraft from there and see what happens. I think it'd be fun. It'd really switch it up.
That's like a different kind of thing. I guess I'm open to it, but you have to. I think you have to reward the first half champion. Like that team, no matter what happens in your second half, goes to the playoffs or goes to the championship game of the fantasy playoffs, because you have to reward them for what they did the first 6 weeks in that first draft, or else August and September don't matter at all.
Or you just split the season in two, and the winner of that first 6 weeks wins half of the pot, and the second half goes to the other half. So it's like, because I think a lot of times, if you draft poorly, like you can look at Lawyer Friend's team, Greg, he came on the pod a few weeks ago. You can look at his team, and I played him this week, and you look at him like, on paper, much better than my team. Why am I 8-2 and he's 1-8? It doesn't make any sense. So I think for him, it'd be like, oh, why not? Give it a shot. I think it'd be fun.
I disagree, but hey, you're not the guy who loves fantasy. You love betting, and so we're just happy you're playing several leagues this year. We'll see how many you're in next year.
Not. Right? Hopefully we expand the super contest for the Sports Hangover, and it's even bigger.
We'll see about that. Mike, a few more quarterbacks I want to touch on. Two great ones and a terrible one that we all saw coming. Two great ones. Shout out Kyler Murray. You know, I've taken a lot of heat on this podcast. On Reddit for saying Kyler Murray is a legitimate quarterback in the NFL, to say he's better than a lot of guys like Dak, like all the young guys we're seeing in the league. And he really is. He came out and proved it after the ACL. He's slinging it. He's running for first downs late in the game, running for touchdowns. Welcome back, Kyler. I think the Cardinals are going to go on a run here.
Listen, I was watching. He's definitely getting in the groove. I'm going to say I'm fading that man this week. He's, when you first come back, it's like you're a little lucky. You're giving your full effort. He gave his full effort. I feel like last year, I did not see full effort Kyler. I saw, I'm playing. I don't really like this situation. I'll see what happens. He's back. It's been a long time. It's been like a year since he's played.
Yeah, that's what ACLs. That's what happens.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is coming back in like 6 weeks after.
Well, that's an Achilles, and we'll talk about that when we get to Scandal City. We'll talk more about Aaron Rodgers here. Coming up. I just got to give Kyler Murray the shout out. This week he is playing at Houston, so that brings me to my next quarterback who had an amazing day. Of course, CJ Stroud. We got to mention it. We did it last week. We're early adopters. We told you not to bet on the Bengals because Stroud has a penchant for pulling off back doors. He also has a penchant for pulling off big wins on the road. Apparently, to win at Cincy. Did not see the win coming from the Texans. That was really impressive late in the game, and they look super legit. Like they might be a playoff team right now as a rookie.
I like it. I mean, he's confident. You can see it too. You see it in these quarterbacks. Like I don't see it in Kenny Pickett. I don't see it in Mac Jones. Listen, do you see it in that man? Like
Steelers are 6-3. That's
I know, but
you choose him to.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I see CJ Stroud, and it's like, yeah, you got it. You understand what you need to do. And I feel like a lot of quarterbacks are just a little scared to try to make those plays. And this man's doing it. And I love it. It's good. And it's fun football. Like at least we're getting some fun. Derek Carr football is not fun football. Jameis Winston is fun football for sure.
You're right. We need more Jameis, more Stroud in primetime to get us rid of the O'Connell, Zach Wilson games, which brings me to my third quarterback, the one who is so terrible. And it was Zach Wilson. They put him on primetime again. That's your first problem. And then the second problem is the Jets continuing to roll him out there. I saw a quote today. Robert Saleh said, "No change at quarterback. We are happy with the position." He literally said that people are brain dead zombies in the Jets building. The idea that Josh Dobbs was available, Mike, at the trade deadline, we talked about this. The Jets could have had him for a 6th-round pick. They definitely would have won last night. Dobbs and Wilson was the difference in a close game like that on the road. I just feel like the Jets are so stupid for sticking with him. They are stupid for running him out there every week. They're stupid for not game planning to any of his strengths and acting like they're just a normal team. I just think they're going to blow everything. They're going to blow this whole franchise away because they chose to stick with it.
So I always wonder the schedule when it comes out, because we've had some really bad Thursday games, Sunday night games, Monday games. What's the night's game? It's not a good one.
Russell Wilson, Josh Allen was supposed to be good. I mean, Sean Payton ruined the Broncos. Who saw it coming?
I just wonder who sets it up, because sometimes it just doesn't make sense when you see it. Like this Thursday night, it's a good game. Like Ravens, Cincinnati, that's a fun Thursday night game.
But I actually disagree. Jets Raiders coming into the season was Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G. You're in Vegas. Sure. I'm pushing for more Vegas primetime. I think it makes sense. The Aaron Rodgers injury, Russell Wilson sucking, these quarterbacks going down changes the whole dynamic.
It's a short season. It's 18 weeks, and it's crazy how many quarterbacks are now not playing and how many injuries. There's been more Achilles injuries this year than I can even count, and it's kind of crazy. So I don't know what's going on. It's almost like when they changed, when did they change that rule where like you couldn't fully practice in pads? I feel like that actually is affecting more on field than actually like helping.
I think that change when they added the game, that was like a trade-off for the extra regular season game to play 17.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You're saying it's Achilles. You want to go to Scandal City before a little betting talk?
Let's do a little Scandal City.
Time to dig up the dirtiest stories around the sport world in this week's Scandal City.
So do you want to go first? Mine is a non-football scandal. So if you want to, I can go first, or do you want to dive into some football here?
I have some football scandals, but I want you to go first because that was a good setup.
My non-football scandal this week. This is a big one. It's about to happen this weekend. It is the F1 race in Vegas. I don't know if you've seen the debacle.
It's a big debacle.
The tweets that are coming out, the workers are like striking. No one wants this. So I have headlines here. It's like Formula One didn't realize Las Vegas would be cold in November. F1 to remove tunnel population below the Vegas Strip. Do you know there's 1,000 people living below the Vegas Strip?
Homeless?
Did you know that? Yeah, there's an article. If you search it up, there's an article, and they're like in these like catacombs of people living underneath the Vegas Strip. And there's thousands of people under there, I guess, that live under there to like avoid the heat or something. It's like crazy.
I'm mind blown by that. I mean, I feel like there's not a lot of homeless people generally on the Strip, and maybe this would make it.
This is like a quote from it. It's like, they are bone dry between storms, and when they house populations, it could swell up to 1,000 people that live under there. I don't know what's going on in Vegas. And then ticket prices. Last year, I think like the cheapest like weekend ticket was like $10,000 in October. Thursday ticket was $300. Friday was $800. Saturday was $1,600. Currently, this was last week when I saw this. Thursday's $160, Friday's $300, and Saturday is $1,000. So everything's dropped 50 to 40% in prices just from a month ago, and even more from a year ago when everybody's trying to get these tickets. It made me think we should go. We should jump on the scandal and go enjoy the debacle because it's this weekend, and we can go there. We can go see an F1 race for $100. Just watch the game. And hotel prices, no one's going.
They're dropping.
No, they want you. I keep getting offers. You know, our favorite hotel, Park MGM. They're sending me offers like comp nights. They want you there. We could go.
Which we thought it would be like $600 up on the Vegas Strip for a hotel for an F1 weekend. And so this is a shocking development. Everything is adding up. Not to mention, Mike, that this is going to happen at 10 p.m. Pacific time in Las Vegas, 1 a.m. Eastern. So if you are an F1 fan on the East Coast of the United States, where most people actually do live, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to watch it unless it's at 1 a.m. And then in Europe, where all the F1 fans do exist, it's at like 6 a.m. their time. So they have to wake up. So no one's happy with the time. The Vegas infrastructure has been hit hard by this because they have set up grandstands everywhere along the Strip, along the Sphere, which means, you can't access those areas. Mike Tirico last night on the Raiders broadcast, I don't know if you mentioned it, our boy, he said traffic's already bad, and it's a week out before the event. And so it feels like a lot of losses. It feels like they won't come back. Why'd they ever leave Miami? They used to go around the Dolphins Stadium.
I think it was great. They did it like a few months ago.
I feel like that wasn't this year. That was like last year. But anyway, it was like so well done. It wasn't in the way of anything. All the celebrities went, and it seemed cool. This Vegas one doesn't seem cool, but maybe we'll see like highlights of them going down the Strip, and it'll seem cool then.
And it's supposed to rain like this week in LA. We have forecast for rain. It's already winter starting. We didn't get a lot of sun this year. We got a lot of clouds in LA this year. Might rain out there. It gets cold in Vegas at night. It gets like to the 40s, 30s in the wintertime.
We know that from years and years of going on Halloween, but apparently F1 organizers have not been partying in their costumes in Vegas like we have.
Not enough research before they committed billions of dollars out there.
Speaking of way too much money spent on terrible things, Mike, Texas A&M has fired their football coach, Jimbo Fisher, and that means nothing to you. But what should mean something to you is this. His buyout is $76 million. They're going to pay this man $76 million to go away. That is a public university in the state of Texas, Texas A&M, which, Mike, someone did the math on this. $76 million is equal to roughly 2,200 4-year in-state tuitions for Texas students. You could send 2,200 Texas kids who can't afford college to college, or you can give all this money to one football coach to never step foot on your campus and never do anything for you ever again. This should be a crime. Whoever gave him that contract should go to jail.
What? Okay. Why is he getting fired? What's happened? Did something happen? Is there like a scandal or something?
No, they only go 7-5 every year instead of 10-3. Those are the margins in Texas college football.
Okay. So he's just done. They're paying him money. These contracts are weird. Like, isn't John Gruden still getting paid out from like the Raiders, his $100 million contract?
I think so, but isn't it more okay if it's the NFL and it's like a rich owner made a stupid decision? Isn't it a little more morally weird when it's a college?
I don't know, because the colleges are weird, because the colleges have like a fund and all these people keep donating tons of money to it. I mean, I think Harvard has like hundreds and millions of dollars invested somewhere, and it's just like a fund for the college. I don't know what they do with it, but I think like Malcolm Gladwell like did a whole podcast about how these colleges, they have tons and tons and tons of money. So I don't know if it's a big hit to the college. I mean, tuition's not going to go up, right? It's just like a weird scammy thing that the college does, but I guess it draws audience in. Just like Colorado, they brought what's his name in?
Deion in. But that's all through like NIL. Colorado's not paying Deion $76 million or anywhere close to it. What is being linked together is maybe Deion will go to Texas A&M, because if they're willing to pay $76 million, that might be something he's interested in. So, I'm pushing Deion to the Dallas Cowboys. I know Deion is rumored for the Raiders. They want that swag. He seems perfect there. So the Deion train is growing, even though they've come back to earth a lot.
Question: if you were going to get a job, where would you rather go? Would you rather do college or NFL?
Oh my gosh, NFL recruiting college football players, like going to high schools and like meeting with the mom and the kid in the dining room and saying, please come for me, please play for me. Like, that sounds terrible.
But do you think the longevity of college, I feel like people just stay there forever. It's like, oh yeah, we've had this coach for 10 years. Like, we're never leaving off of him. He becomes like part of the team and never gets to leave. It's like the one face that stays. It almost seems easier to me. Right. And it's like earlier in the season, and sometimes you don't have to play in January. I don't know.
I'd say NFL all the way. I'm surprised you'd say that. You've never been to a college football game. So
no, but I would I'd be a college coach easy.
You do not want to recruit. Oh, you got to drive over to Bakersfield tonight, Mike, and scout the quarterback in Bakersfield, and then meet with his family afterwards.
First of all, I would not be scouting. I would be
that's what the head coach does.
You'd be the closer. You'd go there and be like, hey, Jeremy, come on. Like, this is it. You're coming to our team. Right, you're not going there like scouting the guy. Like, I'm going to go sit in the stands watching high school football.
I think you are. And then in the old days, they used to hand them the bag of McDonald's that was filled with cash, and now they just write them checks. They write them straight checks. It's over at the table. It's not under the table anymore. Another college football scandal for you. This one's been happening. And Michigan, Connor Stallions, the sign stealer, not the physical sign stealer. He's stealing signs from the opponents as they're giving them out. He was let go. Michigan has now suspended their head coach has been suspended by the Big Ten for the next 3 games. Some people say it's not enough. Some people say it's too much. Meanwhile, this Connor Stallions character, I give him credit, Mike. Apparently, I learned this from Dave Portnoy, who's a big Michigan guy who was hyping him up. He went to the Naval Academy to West Point to join the military as a code breaker, specifically as a code breaker. So he knew how to break signals and look for pattern recognition. And then he wrote a 500-page manifesto on how to make Michigan the best football team it can be. And then he orchestrated this whole sign stealing campaign where he would send people to other schools to get video. He was wearing those glasses on the Central Michigan sideline with Google Lens, apparently had a camera in him. That's why he was wearing sunglasses at night. But he did break some rules because he got these credentials by lying about who he was, because they never gave something out to a Connor
Stallions. But he figured it out.
Michigan. He figured it out. And so I feel like I know where you're going here, but where are you at with this scandal? Is it too much punishment? Should it just be allowed?
Well, I think the biggest problem is he got caught. I think that's the thing. If you're good at code breaking, how'd you get caught? You should have just never been on the Michigan sideline. You should just give him the report. Like, here, if they're calling this is the play you do. He got caught. Now, I always wonder how people get caught with these things, because it seems internal, right? If you're going out to like steal all these things, how many people are you telling that you're going to steal the signs? I mean, I'm impressed by him stealing the signs, figuring it out, code breaking the signs.
He did.
I just don't know, where did it happen that he got caught and what institution came after him? It wasn't Michigan, right? It wasn't like Michigan.
No, definitely. No. I think it was Central Michigan. He was on the Central Michigan sideline in Central Michigan clothing, and he shouldn't have been there. And so that's like identity theft in a way. That seems a little like criminal activity. And that's what I think caused a lot of this action to happen. There's video of him, Mike, in big games, Michigan, Ohio State every year, Like right now they're ranked like number 1 and number 2 or something. They're normally ranked that high. 2 years ago, they were ranked that high. It was like number 2 against number 3. He's on the sideline yelling at Jim Harbaugh, the head coach, run right, right before the play. And then go to the video and they're running right. And so like he actually knew the plays and the biggest moment. I don't know. You're impressed. I'm kind of like, it's kind of dirty. I don't know.
Yeah, but it wasn't like when Houston stole in baseball, right? They were like, they had like little buzzers on them. Like
they were using technology, and that's a difference, right? You shouldn't use technology.
This was brain power. This man was so smart.
Michigan man.
I'm impressed. I like that kind of stuff because it's almost like there was no other people. This is all free information. It's almost like when you're playing blackjack, right? When you can count cards, it's not illegal. But if you're able to count cards and do it, and the problem is you're going to get caught because you're going to start winning a lot of money.
I don't know, Mike. Okay, quote unquote legal. If the Vegas cameras see you catching cards, don't they come over and like chop your finger off or something?
No. It's not illegal to count cards, but it's illegal if you get caught because it's something they don't want you to do. Because everybody can count cards. It's a thing you can do and learn if you're able to do it, right? So if you're seeing this happen, you can go in and be like, okay, I'm going to learn how to count cards and I'm going to be the best blackjack player out here. And I'm going to count, figure it out. And you're going to win some money. And that's how people do it. And I feel like the same thing with Michigan. Good for them. They figured it out. Everybody has access to that, right? You can sit there and watch the game and figure, okay, when they do this, or when they go like this, doesn't college do a lot of like signaling like this on the field instead of like calling it through here? So it's like, go, boo, boo, boo. And it's like, oh, I figured it out. Like you guys are going to run to the right with that call. So I'm all for it. Love Michigan for doing that, and good for them.
For that. Yeah. Okay, you're the one. You, the Michigan man. You and Dave Portnoy. We'll see what happens there. My last Scandal City, Mike.
Yeah, wow.
Another football one. So we were early on this one. So possibly. Some are saying, as in the Sports Hangover podcast, are saying that Aaron Rodgers didn't actually tear his Achilles. And I was like, wait, it all made too much sense. The way he came out, he lays down the first play. He doesn't have to play for a while, wants to come back in December. So I mentioned that recently. But another podcast, just like us, another successful podcast like us has picked up on this. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz is now speculating that he probably didn't actually tear it because how is he able to come back so soon in December? And so they are pushing this narrative now because Aaron Rodgers is pushing mid-December on the return. It's never been done. Nothing like it. It'll be 3 months since mid-September when it first happened. He's been slinging balls on the field. No one knows how it's possible. Maybe he never tore it in the first place.
I like that. Maybe it was just like a little strain, or maybe this is a game plan. You know how Rodgers kind of
a little calf pull.
He falls apart towards the end of the season, getting a little hurt. This is perfect. He comes back mid-season, just like my fantasy football redraft. He comes back mid-season, plays the end of the season. They go to the Super Bowl and they win it all. There, it's done. I like it. Good scheme. You're allowed to get out of it. I'm sure something happened, but maybe not as bad as we think. I'm all for it. Dan Le Batard,
I just think he didn't want to come back and play the whole season, so it just made sense to come out with the American flag, have a moment on 9/11, go down, and then come back in December. If we'll see where we're at. Turns out Zach Wilson's worse than anyone thought, so they're 4-5, and they play the Bills and the Dolphins coming up. So that sounds a lot like 4-7. And I don't think you go to the playoffs when you're 4-7.
You don't go to the playoffs, but AFC, we'll see what happens. Actually, there's some good teams now. But do you want to do hotline? I got some good comments last week on some of our videos. Well, here we go. Hotline, calling on the hotline. Okay, so we had some comments. We mentioned Al Michaels last week. He's falling asleep, not really doing a great job. This guy, Texas Bot, he commented on your video. This is just a big screenshot of your face here. I have a screenshot. He said, please find something else to cry about. He did not like our take on Al Michaels.
Is that all he said?
That's all he said. That's
listen, we have segments devoted to me crying. J-Dog takes on Scandal City. I get fired up. There's a lot of segments like that. So you don't have to tell me twice. I'll have plenty to complain about on this show and future shows. So thank you, Texas Bot. Don't you worry about Dak Prescott over there in Texas.
What else? We have videos. It was a few. This one guy commented multiple times on your video about CJ Stroud and how he was really good.
Engagement.
He basically made like a paragraph, and I'll just condense it. He said CJ Stroud has been always been good since he played in college. So he's already been on the bandwagon. Basically.
I feel like I know that from Ohio State days. I appreciate the comment. We should have sent that to the Carolina Panthers in the draft process, so they avoided Bryce Young. But no one told the Panthers.
Yeah, that's all we got. I think I had a text message, but I forgot to add it in here from Gambling Goose. Really likes to text me his thoughts. Sometimes he comments on the videos, but he likes texting.
Well, I'm just in a criticism mode right now because if Gambling Goose is watching, he should spend less time texting you and more time on his picks because they haven't been as great lately.
They haven't. Listen, sometimes just that football knowledge will not get you too far.
I mean, he is named the Gambling Goose. I think he has more than just football knowledge. He's got some gambling in him.
Do you want to do some gambling? We can just
let's talk about this week. Quick. Yeah, it's week 11 already. What's going on with this season?
Hold on, here we go.
If money talks, then I got a lot to say. I'm on the grind trying to make.
I think it's the best intro we've had.
There's some good ones.
We used to have Guess That Tweet. Can we still use Guess That Tweet? Is this like, do you have to change it to Guess That
It's almost funnier now. It's almost better.
All right, I got a ton of stats. This is a ton of stats. I really like looking through all the stats before we do this. I don't know if it helps at all, but it's definitely interesting to see it. Okay. Right now, teams getting 50% of the bets this season. They're 57% against the spread. Unders are hitting at 62%.
One at a time. Hang on a second. Okay. You always tell me not to follow the public money. You look where the public money is,
correct,
and you get off it. But now you're telling me if the money is on the public, they're covering 57% of the time.
So I was listening to a podcast, and it had nothing to do with gambling, but it made me think. I can't be stuck in my ways. I need to think and see and find the adjustments throughout the season. I cannot be saying, this is the way it's been, like an old man, and say, this is what it is, and I have to go this way. I have to adjust and follow the movement of the money and the games and realize what is happening for the games. If this is happening, this is no longer a one-off week, favorites are winning. This is a season trend that we have seen right now with 72 games, 72 and 54 games. That's how many games we've been through. And I think for me, it's an eye-opener. I have to experience and be part of the game instead of saying, no, these are my rules. You can go based off some trends, but I have to be open to taking favorites. I can't just always try, I got to fade them this week. Now, I will say I did look at the stats from last week. Where are they? I have them somewhere over here. The stats from last week. So favorites and dogs. So favorites currently, we're recording this Monday before Monday Night Football. Favorites went 6 against, they went 6 ATS, and then dogs went 7 against the spread.
Wait, what is 6 and 7? What does that mean?
So favorites went 6 against 6. They won 6 games against the spread. So favorites won 6 games against the spread, and dogs won 7 games.
Out of the 13 games in this week 10. Sure. So about 50-50.
So about 50-50. We'll see what happens tonight. But I thought that was an interesting stat because, yes, there are some games that even have a lot of money on them that are still covering. San Francisco, Dallas. They're covering these games. So this is no longer...
I couldn't believe you bet Dallas. The biggest line I've ever seen, and you bet it.
I know. And it was just like, in a way, you almost had to. I got a little nervous there when, like...
first quarter, 0-0.
Yeah, they weren't doing too good. But I think it's just, you have to adjust and see what's in front of you instead of saying this is the way it is. And I think this made me realize last week when I was talking to a mutual friend, I said, we can't not do this. We can't always say, we need dogs. We need both sides because Vegas is losing money, and it's sure they'll slowly adjust. But money, there's so much money now, it's hard to actually see. So I stopped looking where the money is because it was skewed my decision every week. So
I was not prepared for that mature of a response from you to learn from mistakes, to make in-season adjustments. This is a lot that I wasn't prepared for, but I'm proud of you. I'm not happy about you making mid-season adjustments because I'm coming for you and mutual friend, and we'll see where we all end up.
A few more. I got a ton more stats, but best teams against the spread this season are Jags and Lions. They're 6-2 against the spread, which is a great stat. If you're just betting them every week, they're covering.
The Lions, I've been wrong on the Lions a lot. Their offense, like they are a chameleon in the NFL. If they need to go beat you up and play a 13-10 game, they're not afraid. They will. If they need to go to LA and just score and score and score with the Chargers and win 41-38, they will. And I'm very impressed with the Lions. They can win multiple ways. Jared Goff plays well at home and the road, which hasn't always been the case. Lots of offensive weapons. Their defense is solid. I think people, if you don't think the Lions will be in the mix for the Super Bowl, you're mistaken. Basically,
I did place a bet on the Lions 3 weeks ago to win the Super Bowl. So hopefully that ticket
I didn't say
pays.
they'd win. I said they might be involved.
Okay, a few more. I got a few more just generic. Worst teams against the spread this season are Falcons and Patriots. They are 2-7 against the spread. Best over team, Colts and Bears.
Wait a second. Arthur Smith and Bill Belichick in the same conversation is not something I ever thought would happen, and they should probably both end up in the same place next season, which is unemployed.
Few more. Got a lot of like Patriots and Belichick ones. Cowboys are now 12-1 against the spread after losing since 2021, covering 10 straight games now in that spot. Mac Jones is 3-7 straight up, 4-16 against the spread as an underdog in his career. Mac is 1-15 in his last 16 starts as a dog.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of stats, right? And then it's weird. The NFC South is now 44-75, 37% against the spread versus outside division opponents over the last 3 seasons. Now, this is something Sam mentioned a few weeks ago, or somebody mentioned this, how they like betting teams that play outside the division. And it's like a weird thing. I don't know. Sam mentioned it. I don't know what he mentioned.
Sam. I don't know where you come up with that one at.
I have some Jets and Giants are now combined 4-30 straight up in night games since 2018, including 2-26 straight up in their last 28 night games. Just a lot of that.
Weird. That's really weird because that spans like multiple quarterbacks and head coaches and everything. A few things you mentioned, Mac Jones and his records on all of that. I think all of those records will be his final career records. I'm not sure the man gets another career start at this point. I think the Patriots are in position to not play him going forward. And then you think about who's going to give him a chance, even as a backup next year. I don't know. Again, another potential XFL character for Mac Jones. It's that bad. And the Patriots should tank, right? They should play these other guys who aren't any good and tank because Caleb Williams, even though he loses college football games every Saturday, he's supposed to be the next Andrew Luck. So I guess people should tank for him.
I have a feeling Zappy might be starting the rest, or actually keep Mac Jones because he's losing the games.
That fake spike with the interception looked really bad, and Belichick looked like he did not sign off on that one.
Yeah, might have been an accident. Maybe the ball got stuck.
Yeah.
All right. It's Monday night. It's early. I looked at the games. There's a few games that stood out to me. The first one, I really like Carolina at home. It's +11 right now against Dallas. Dallas just destroyed Danny DeVito or whatever his name is. I like this game. I think it's a bounce back for Carolina and maybe a letdown spot for Dallas. I don't think Dallas can do this 2 weeks in a row. I don't think we've seen it from them 2 weeks in a row. 11 points is a lot. They're a little more, I would say, more competent than Danny DeVito and the Giants, right? Do you agree that they're a little bit
Panthers?
Better? Yeah. Maybe Houston.
I don't know. That seems fluky now. You lost to the Bears, and the Bears aren't any good. From what I'm hearing, I reported this last week on the show. The Panthers are considering another coaching change. They're going to send $76 million like Texas A&M with Frank Reich and try it again, maybe. And again, every game that CJ Stroud wins, every game that CJ Stroud looks amazing, the Panther situation gets that much worse. And at some point, Mike, you're fighting your mental health in that building, knowing you made bad decisions, knowing you're stuck. It's like you're in a relationship and you're stuck and you can't get out because you're supposed to be with this person forever. And it's like the Panthers, I think, will just be depressed, if anything. So I don't like that bad.
Okay. I have Cleveland at home, -3.5 against Pittsburgh. I like this game, a little division game. I think Cleveland, I don't know if they're really good or really, really lucky. They won that game against the Ravens, which was a wild game because they were losing and then they came back to win the game. I think Pittsburgh, I don't believe in them at all. They're a weird team. They should not be 6-3.
The worst 6-3 team ever, right?
I think so. And I like Cleveland this week. I think Cleveland's starting to get it. Deshaun is not that good, but I feel like they figure it out. And I always felt like Ravens had a pretty good defense. So I'm leaning this. It's early. This is my initial thought. I like Cleveland -3.5, and we'll see where the line goes. I mean, I put these lines in early this morning, and a few of them have already changed. So I'm going to see where this settles.
You might be onto something there because the Ravens are not good at closing. They're really good in the first quarter. Their stats in the first quarter and the first half are unbelievable. They're always winning by multiple touchdowns. They can't cover a game to save their life. I think back a few weeks ago when Dobbs was on the Cardinals, they were up like 30-7 at halftime against the Cardinals. They didn't cover the game like a 5 or 6 point line. Again, against the Browns, they're up early. They look dominant. The game looks over. Like it doesn't even look like a competitive game. All of a sudden, the Browns come back and win. There's something wrong with the Ravens and Lamar. I saw him getting bashed in some places this morning. Something's up. But that doesn't mean the Browns will beat the Steelers. But the Steelers are the worst 6-3 team in history. So that's
I agree. The next game I have, this is me adjusting. I'm taking San Francisco -10 against Tampa Bay. This scares me a lot. I think Tampa Bay gets a little frisky. I also think them blowing out Tennessee was kind of a maybe lucky, maybe gets the rookie. San Francisco with that new defense with Chase Young and Bosa, or not Bosa, right? Yeah, Bosa, right? Yeah. So, I mean, how can you stop those two on each end? It almost seems like a fake Madden team, and you got 99 rating on every player on the team. This feels
except quarterback.
All right. He's good enough.
He's okay.
But I just think their defense is so good. I think Baker's a little shaky when he gets pressure on him. And I like San Francisco -10. It seems like this game could get out of hand quickly because Tampa, I feel like, get a little frazzled. They're also traveling all the way to San Francisco.
Yeah.
A little travel. We don't talk about that a lot, but travel affects you.
We had some travel talk a few weeks ago. We broke that down pretty well. I agree with you. I think San Francisco, Mike, I think when they are in the tunnel about to come out and the beatbox is on and they are pulling up, they're basically pulling up to your boy's house, but they're pulling up to a game, often on the road, often in someone else's house.
It's huge. It's huge. I
think they probably have a guy for it. Like I've seen them tweet out, and there's always a guy who's responsible for it. And you forget, for a few weeks there, they lost a few members of the beatbox team. They lost Debo, who's always out in front. They lost Trent Williams, who's always out in front. Now, yesterday in Jacksonville, they're back. They're bringing the beats again. They're fired up. That game's over before it starts. If I see that 5 minutes before the Bucs-Niners game, I am putting all my money on San Francisco. I don't care what the line is, because it's intimidating. It's legit. But I need the whole core out there. It was different without Debo and Trent. And so if they stay healthy, I'm going to ride with them all the way. But if those guys get dinged up again, it's a problem.
All right, my next one. I have a few others, but I feel like this is the last confident game. Again, me adjusting. I'm taking a favorite. It's a 10-point favorite. I feel like I should just tease all these games.
A lot of these, yeah.
I'm taking Washington -10 at home, playing the Giants. This is the division. Now, I like playing division dogs. Yeah. I'm going off my rule. I'm breaking rules. I'm no longer. I got fed up. I went 1-4 that week. A week ago. I don't want to do that again. Washington, they're frisky. I think Seattle is a fraud. They do not play very well.
Wait, viewers will see the shirt you're wearing is literally a Seahawks shirt as you say that.
I do not think this is what I was thinking about today. I was on a walk and I was listening to some people talk about the games. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, the Seahawks feel like they are almost like, you meet a girl on vacation, you have a really good time, but it's not going to go anywhere. And that's where I feel like the Seahawks are. The Seahawks are great. They're going to get you some wins and you're really going to enjoy it. But then when playoffs come, you're not going anywhere with it. You're not going to go to the Super Bowl. You're going to have a good time, but it's going to end. And I know it's going to end in the playoffs. And I'm taking, Washington was moving the ball on them. Their defense is not good. Sometimes Gino didn't get his nap and he's a little sleepy during the game.
I've seen it.
I think it was just, I'm enjoying it. It's fun. You're seeing them win. But I know it's not going to last. And that's why I think Washington here, I think Washington might be the real deal. They got rid of Chase Young. They're ready. Sam Howell, the real deal, slinging the ball, running around. Danny DeVito can't compete with Washington. I think they destroyed New York. I don't know what's going on in New York. They're literally a terrible, terrible team.
Sam Howell is one of the top 12 to 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. And 3 weeks ago, you would have never imagined that, especially coming into the season. But it's proven. It's across fantasy. It's with yards. They have won some games throughout the year. They kept it close. I know you were on the Seahawks and they covered. So I know when a team covers like that in a close, you're on Washington. I was on Washington. And they covered. Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. So when a team wins like that, you want to stay on them a little longer and see how long you can prolong it. I have big issues with Riverboat Ron because he's really just scared Ron at this point. He's not making the same calls. And so I don't love getting behind a team that has Riverboat Ron in charge.
I agree. I just feel like they're a feisty team. You know, I like that like feisty quarterback there. I think he's doing well.
Yeah,
we'll see where the line settles. If it goes any higher, they do not deserve a 10-point because they were 6-point underdogs. Now they're 10-point favorites. It's a big swing. So
a little too big, you might say.
That's all I got. By the way, the website, updating the website, new swag. We have so much holiday gear about to drop. I think next week it'll be on. Maybe we'll showcase it a little here, but we have some really fun holiday sweaters, some t-shirts, long sleeve, all about to drop. There's some new stuff up there right now.
Great. So just in time for Black Friday, your holiday shopping. We're going to have it all up for you on thesportshangover.com.
That's right. All right. Good show, Jeremy.